Welcome back to another episode of Dan on Money. Today we are going to talk about financial regrets. So, what have I purchased that afterwards I regretted making that purchase? Well, let's just get into it and talk about it. So the first one was young family, wife, one child, lived in an apartment in Northwest Calgary, needed a car, or at least thought we needed a car, but probably needed a car. You know, we took the bus everywhere and stuff like that, and that was fine. But convenience sake, we really wanted a car. Of course, because I'm not very handy when it comes to vehicles. I know where the oil goes and I know where the gas goes. Other than that, that's probably about it. So I've learned more since then, but at that time, didn't really know much about vehicles. So it was, well, don't want to get a used car because what happens if something goes wrong? I don't want to have to spend all this money on maintenance and repairs and all that stuff, which I may not have had at that point in time. So bought a brand spanking new car. First financial regret. Didn't regret it necessarily at the time, but regretted it down the road because insurance is more, car payments, all these other things that it was like, oh, still had maintenance to do as well. So all those things added up, and I could have probably saved money by buying a cheap used car and did the repairs to it if I knew how to save properly in my emergency fund. So, which you may have heard on our podcast, chatting with that topic with Jerica. I think that's actually episode 1. So go back and chat or listen to that podcast episode, and you'll hear about all the emergency fund stuff. But that's about what that was. Second financial regret, buying a second new vehicle. So the first one was a Chevy Cavalier. Beautiful purple, loved it. Well, maroon we'll call it, but it was a purpley color. Second financial regret was trading in that car because now we had 3 kids. Couldn't get 3 kids in car seats into the back of our little car, so bought an Astrovan. Loved the Astrovan, but again, it was brand spanking new. Probably not the best financial decision ever. So just because all those reasons again, higher insurance than on a used vehicle, higher loan payments because, hey, now we got a new vehicle. And honestly, I can't remember, but the dealership probably rolled over part of the loan from the old vehicle into this new vehicle. So guess what? We're paying even more because now we're paying on what that car was no longer worth, that we had a trade-in value that didn't cover off the loan, plus for this new van. So it makes it difficult to get ahead when you're doing things like that. So those were the big financial regrets. Looking back on it, I would never buy a new vehicle unless I can go and just pay cash outright and say, I want a new vehicle. Otherwise, always a used vehicle because really the maintenance, because I've bought a lot of used vehicles since, yeah, there's maintenance and stuff like that, but if you plan and prepare for it, you don't have any problems with doing the maintenance on that vehicle, and you're saving a ton in interest. So, unless of course, when you buy a new vehicle, it's an interest-free loan, which is very rare. However, when you do have that loan, the value of that vehicle goes down right away. So, even if you regret that purchase in a year or two, you're going to be upside down on that loan, and you won't be able to get rid of it very easily if you, say, wanted to buy a house. Never buy a vehicle and have a vehicle loan if you want to buy a house. Buy the house first, or even rent first, and then get the vehicle loan. Because dealerships will always give you a loan. Whether you've got lots of debt with a home and stuff like that, they are more than happy to sell you a vehicle and give you a loan on that. But anyway, that's my soapbox part.
Having worked as a car salesman myself, I can confirm they will give you a loan even if you can't afford it. I've tried to talk somebody out of buying a car before and they still got the loan, even though my manager also tried to talk them out of it. They just want to get the car out.
A vehicle is the easiest thing to purchase.
That was my soapbox.
Perfect. Man, we got extra soapbox. Anyway, other financial regrets have been smaller purchases. They don't have to be big purchases either, like a brand new vehicle. They can be small purchases, whether it be a video game system or whether it's just some stuff at the hardware store or things like that. Those can be regrets because you may realize later that it's like, oh, I shouldn't have bought that because I needed that money, or I forgot I needed that money for this other thing. So make sure that you really plan out what you are wanting to buy and what you need to buy so that you don't have those financial regrets. Thankfully, for big purchases, you do have, in Alberta, you do have 10 days to back out of a contract. So keep that in mind as well, that if you went and bought a car, you may not have delivery of it right away, but you've got 10 days to go, no, I'm out. I don't want to purchase this. So that goes for pretty much anything. So, and honestly, for financial regret, Costco. Costco is a big financial regret because you go up and down those aisles and go, ooh, that's nice. Ooh, that's nice. And you pick up that stuff, you bring it home. 3 months later, guess where it is? Facebook Marketplace. Because you need the money and you really didn't need that, whatever it was. So make sure that when you are buying stuff, that it is something that you do actually want and want to keep, because you're going to sell it for at least half the price on Facebook Marketplace, unless for some strange reason that all of a sudden it goes up in value. But make sure that you do think about your purchases, and that doesn't need to be big purchases. It can be small purchases. But think about those purchases and think of whether or not you're going to regret that purchase down the road or not. Because really, biggest things you need, shelter, clothing, food. So make sure you've got those 3 things taken care of, and always save more and spend less.